be it in a word or be it in a landscape or photograph that I take. It's this ephemerality that I'm lunging into the lens to try and pull that out. Take a look, take a stronger look. Look carefully, because this is it, this is you, this is a mirror, and it's not going to be there forever. Hi, my name is Dawn Ng, and I'm a visual artist working and living in Singapore. Here in my studio, I work across a breadth of mediums, including installation, sculpture, light, photography, film, painting, and collage. What I think my practice is obsessed about is the now, and that soon to be no more. I think the linearity of time has always bothered me. I've always felt that that is antithetical to the true nature of time, which to me is wholly emotional and elastic. When you're bored or you're waiting for someone, it takes forever. And when you fall in love, it can entirely stand still. Intuit began in 2017. I was very keen to find a new visual language to describe time. What does time look in a color, shape, or form? Is there another visual representation of time that is much more visceral and real? I began looking at the most obvious things, which were ephemeral objects. In a place like Singapore, when we have 365 days of hot heat, the one thing that can't last and has that most dramatic and drastic collapse is, a block, a piece of ice. It's so hard to handle because it's constantly disappearing once you take it out of its industrial freezer. But I also fell in love with that idea of sculpting pigments, acrylics, inks, and dyes in these huge containers, and ultimately photographing them and that disintegration. Over 100 blocks have been made in the studio to date, and they are shot over every 4 hours to capture their collapse. And in many ways, I am sculpting with color, allowing time and gravity to do the reduction and to pull the colors or pull certain pigments away. They are time moving through in color, shape, and texture. And to me, this series of works, which is called Clocks, are titled as such because they replace the face of a clock in expressing time in a much more emotional and visceral way. A year into working on the blocks, I began thinking that, if photography is the obvious way to stop time, then what about video and what about film and its ability to bend time? Because you can speed things up, you can retract. The laws of time that apply to us in reality don't apply to the editor and the editing suite. And that's where the time-lapse films came in. So this series of works are all called Time Lost Falling in Love. What we've done in the studio in parallel to shooting Clocks is to set up a time-lapse video set where over the course of 15 to 18 hours, we capture the total disintegration of a complete block. Although technically we're speeding up time in the editing suite, what happens for the viewer is actually this very slow, languid collapse of pigments that mirrors a waterfall in slow motion. Everything is so fast in our world today where everything is instant. Just this retraining of someone to be able to sit and to not be thinking about what's coming next or what just happened. That was always the goal in the work and the way the film has been handled and edited. So the last final step in the series, which is called Ash, if photography was a means to stop time and the films were a means to bend time, then the final painting was a means for me to sieve time. So what happens after the block has finally melted, I lower all the pigment into a vat and I layer a huge sheet of cotton paper over it. And I maneuver both the vat and the sheet over the course of about a month, and allowing pigments to evaporate through the paper. So this causes some of the fibers to fray and others to coagulate and form tributaries, and the work feels very textured. And I felt in that entire process I had then finally put this series to rest, because I had chased time from solid to liquid and finally liquid back to air. And if you think about it, it's that saying, ashes to ashes, and you have to go through the entire cycle to go back to nothing. In Singapore, we're constantly upgrading, cleaning up, making better, wiping out, building brand new. It's almost a visual amnesia we have because buildings don't really have a lifespan before they're replaced. Spaces that have really excited me would be 2 Cavan Road. It was a space that I always walk past and I would stop and look in because unlike the rest of the neighborhood, which has gone through considerable gentrification and modernizing, that space is just hangs still in time. It's almost like a black hole. Everything down to the terrazzo flooring, to the peeling patina on the walls, it stands out as a real anomaly. I've always been drawn to that sort of authenticity and integrity about that space. To be unapologetically beautiful, to not feel that you need to be new or be something else. Both the space and the series deal so much with time as a subject matter, and both have gone through that process of time moving through its pores or its bones. And the building really, you go into it and you feel the weight of time that has crept through. I don't think any art, once it leaves a gallery or museum, exists on a purely white, abstract space. It lives and breathes with furniture, with people, with real lives. And this, to me, felt more authentic than what a white gallery could provide. Every moment, be it through photography, film, or in painting, I'm always trying to just hold on to time a little while more. But you can never stop time, you can never bend time, you can never catch it. And everything I have is just residue and memory as the only artifacts or the only things that you can hold on to, while time will just be time.